Hey guys, and welcome back to the third episode in the Daredevil TV journals. I just watched, and this episode will be filled with spoilers for the Netflix series Daredevil Episode 3, Rabbit in a Snowstorm. That being said, how was the episode? It was pretty good. Daredevil continues to hold up. I'm still having fun. We're 3 episodes in, and it's going strong. So I'm happy. My biggest problem with this episode, and pretty much my only real problem with this episode, was that the plot was a little confusing. I was trying to pay as close attention as I could, but I only watched it one time through, and I was confused a little bit about why exactly Matt decided to take this case. I mean, on one hand, it's for the money, or is he trying to just get closer to whoever the big bad guy is, trying to figure things out. So that was a little confusing, especially since he usually, like he doesn't defend people who aren't innocent, and he can tell because he knows when people are lying. So that was a little bit confusing. Why exactly they were hired was a little bit confusing. Like, I thought at first that maybe the bad guys were onto him, but they gave an explanation otherwise. But again, I wasn't exactly sure what was going on. And I wasn't sure who exactly was killed at the beginning, or who sent the man to kill him, or why exactly he had to die. And why that one woman on the jury was being blackmailed, as opposed to anyone else on the jury. It just seemed a little bit too intricate, and not enough was taken time to be explained. And it just made the episode a little bit less impactful for me. But besides that, and that's kind of a big deal, besides that, the episode was filled with a lot of good things. And it's not really a good thing here, but it's just a thing, is that this episode, and the series in general, the violence is really brutal. There was the big death at the end. There was... in the opening, the guy crushing that guy's skull with a bowling ball, and the blood splattering all over his face. It was really graphic, and is something I would expect more to see from The Walking Dead than on a Marvel property. And I know it's not the Avengers series, even though it shares the universe with it. This is definitely its own series with its own flavor, which makes me think it's a good place for Daredevil to at least start. Maybe he'll get big enough to warrant at least an appearance in some of the movies. But Daredevil, and if they ever get the rights back, if Marvel ever gets the rights back to, Deadpool, or maybe Ghost Rider, some of those more brutal, dark characters, maybe this is a good place to start. On Netflix, and out of the spotlight of who Marvel is, and off in the dark shadows. At least at first. I'm still hoping that Daredevil will show up in an Avengers film eventually, just because I would love to see that, and that's the whole point of having a shared cinematic universe. But if not, I'll be fine with it. The characters in this movie are really a strong suit. I love Matt. He's awesome. And Foggy, his partner, is a really good character. At first I thought he was going to be sort of the bumbling assistant, because that's kind of what he looks like and how he acted for a little while. But it shows in this episode he's a competent lawyer. He can go not toe to toe because of the superpowers, but straight up as a partner with Matt. And when it comes to lawyering, he's a good person. He's not all just jokes, even though that's kind of his default, is joking. But again, that's just a good personality to have, in contrast with Matt's more subdued personality. So I like the characters. I was a little bit not confused, but distracted by the subplot with, I forget her name, but she's basically their secretary now, because I'm not sure where it was. I'm not sure really where like, again, I wasn't sure exactly what was going on. I wasn't sure if they had taken down the corrupt company, or if the people she was talking to were from that corrupt company. Is that corrupt company the same as the guys who sent the killer at the beginning of the episode? It was all just a little bit, But her story really did bring to light the thing I think I like most about the Daredevil series so far is that because he's a crime fighter, all these stories are deeply personal. He's not Thor saving the universe. He's not Iron Man saving the world. He is saving people, and he's making a difference in individual people's lives. And the showrunners are taking advantage of that. Because Daredevil isn't as epic, they're not trying to make it epic. They're not trying to make it even as big as the show Arrow is. There's not a whole lot of fight scenes in the story, at least not in any individual episode. There's usually like one big fight in every episode. And it's a very crucial point. And it makes Daredevil seem a lot more real. And a lot more realistic and a lot more gritty. And it works very much with, I'm assuming, the lower budget than Daredevil would have if he was in a movie, and just the smaller nature of the character. He doesn't have super strength or deal with aliens or anything like that. He is a man with slightly enhanced senses, a good fighting style, and some smarts who takes down criminals. Real quick before I get to the end, I did like the one Avengers reference that I caught in here, because the newspaper guy is a big part of the story, or at least his setup is a big part. I imagine he'll be a big player later. But in the background you see the Battle of New York, and I think one shot from the Avengers in black and white on the newspaper of like one of the buildings crashing. And when you look at the skyline of New York, I didn't see Stark Tower. I was really hard looking for Stark Tower, but I didn't see it. But you can see some of the tops of buildings being rebuilt, and I'm like, I'm just happy that it's there. I eventually want him to meet other characters and crossover, but for now, I'm happy they're taking it slow and just being like, hey, by the way, we're in this universe, but let's focus up on our own story. And that's exactly what I want. That's exactly what's happening. At least these first 3 episodes in. And we got to talk about it, and this is how I'm going to end with the big reveal of the villain. I don't know who he is. We got his name. I don't even really remember what the name was, but the point is that Matt Murdock knows, and so he's got a name defined, and they revealed his face. He honestly doesn't look. He looks kind of like a henchman himself, but maybe that just means he's a really physically imposing guy. Now, as far as I can tell, and I purposefully haven't looked up anything about these Marvel movies, because if you look up any even character names, a lot of times they will spoil a lot for you, at least for the movies, because the identity of the Winter Soldier in Captain America 2 was a big deal. That was like a big reveal. But if you're a fan of the comics, you obviously know who the Winter Soldier is. It's not a big deal anymore in the comics. And I know people who were like, oh, the Winter Soldier, I'll see what that is. Oh, okay, there goes the entire plot point for me. So I didn't look up anything to do with Daredevil. I just know what I know about him from the Ben Affleck movie, really. But as far as I can tell, this villain is supposed to be the Kingpin. Which, again, as far as I know about him, he's a crime lord who is bald. That's about all I know about him. So this guy may not even be the Kingpin. I just couldn't remember his name. Kingpin was the villain in the Daredevil movie. So we'll see how that goes. We'll see if he's actually a good villain, because right now he's just kind of weird. He got like just a couple of lines, and he's very much more defined by his henchmen than himself. I really hope he's a good villain, but we will just see. Alright, well that's all I have for you guys today. Join me for the next episode. I'll see you later. Bye.